Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ruger, surprising you with new topics every single week and jabbing you with your daily dose of UFC. And no UFC this weekend. We have no UFC event this weekend. It's the rare off weekend for Memorial Day, but we will be back June 1st with UFC 302. 302. I'm so used to saying the 200s, but now we're in the 300s. We've had 300, we've had 301, and now we kick off June with UFC 302. Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. I'm super excited for that fight. We're going to be covering that entire card next week on episode 95. But as for today's episode, we're going to be doing a little 5-month recap of what's kind of gone on in the UFC, my current rankings, some of the submissions of the year, knockouts of the year, stuff like that. So it's going to kind of be fun to just see what's gone on so far in 2024, and maybe even discuss what's to come in the future for the rest of the year. As well, we're going to be checking out some new UFC fights that have been announced, the NBA and NHL playoffs as they wind down or are now in their conference championship games. And as well, we're going to look at the WWE King of the Ring and drop our predictions for that. As I've kind of been keeping up with WWE a bit, it's still on my Instagram feed, so I see it now and then. So it's kind of a fun episode. Of course, we'll be doing discussing film, that segment, lots of fun stuff. Everyone enjoy. In the last 3 days since we last spoke, we've had a couple of fight announcements, and one big one was actually announced today, which I am excited about. So that will be the last fight we talk about when it comes to new UFC fights. As for locations and stuff, nothing really new when it comes to that. I mean, we kind of know that we're going to New Jersey for 302, Louisville, Kentucky for the June 8th fight night. Then the 15th, I think we're back at the Apex, 22nd, Saudi Arabia. Then end of June, of course, we're in Las Vegas for Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. So that's looking like your June schedule. Of course, we'll be going to, I think they're going to Colorado this year. Obviously going to Manchester, England. They're going to Sydney, Australia. I mean, they're going all over. Exciting stuff. And the co-main event for UFC 303 will be the final fight we talk about. Well, we've had some minor fights, which I'll talk about, that were recently announced. So going down at UFC 304 in Manchester, England, we have a heavyweight matchup between Mick Parkin and Lucas Brzezic. Mick Parkin is 9-0 undefeated, just picked up a win over Kamaru Usman's brother, Mohammed Usman. Currently 3-0 in the UFC. I mean, they've all been boring decisions, so we'll see how he does against Lucas Brzezic. Lucas coming off a win over Walter Walker, which was kind of shocking. His only win in the UFC, his other 3 losses, he's been knocked out in. So this is really set up for Mick Parkin to get a good first start in the UFC. I don't know how he's going to do personally, but I mean, you're in front of your home crowd in Manchester, England. I'd like to think Mick Parkin can get this one done. Going down at UFC 305 in Perth, Western Australia. That's what it is. It's not Sydney, Australia. It's Perth, Australia, which is UFC 305, the big pay-per-view in August. Tom Nolan, he's back, baby. 7-1 in the UFC, or 7-1 professionally, 1-1 in the UFC. Just picked up a win over Victor Martinez, round 1 TKO. Is taking on Alex Reyes, who is 0-2 in the UFC. Just suffered a loss to Charlie Campbell, got knocked out in round number 1. So this is essentially a big step up for Tom Nolan, even though as far as Alex Reyes, he's 0-2 in the UFC, yet to win. He is still a better competition than his other 2 opponents. So best of luck to Tom Nolan, who I guess is from Australia. I kind of forgot that. I don't know why I thought he was from the United States. But no, Tom Nolan, best of luck. He just fought last weekend, ladies and gentlemen. So quick turn. I guess August isn't too bad of a turnaround. But in order to get a fight booked, we love to see it. Another fight announced for UFC 304, which is going down in England on July 27th. Christian Leroy Duncan, 3-1 in the UFC, 10-1 professionally, just picked up a win over Claudio Ribeiro. Will be taking on the 17-6 Robert Brzezic. Robert Brzezic lost his UFC debut to, oh my gosh, I remember it was earlier this year, to someone who is yet to win in the UFC. This is really troubling me. I can't recall who Robert Brzezic lost to. It was, oh my gosh, it's actually going to kill me. It's going to kill me who Robert Brzezic lost to, but I do know for a fact it was earlier this year. It was on a fight night. I'm going to kick myself. Maybe it'll come to me later in the episode, but he's had experience on the European scene. As far as his UFC, he lost his first fight. Christian Leroy Duncan, though, a native of England, of Manchester, I'm sure he'll get this one done, especially since it's in front of his home crowd. UFC Vegas 94 going down July 20th at the UFC Apex, of course. Steve Garcia Jr. will take on Sungwoo Choi in a featherweight matchup. Steve Mean Machine Garcia, 4-2 in the UFC, holds wins over Chase Hooper, Jose Mariscal, Malquizel Costa. Some pretty notable wins, 15-5 professionally. Takes on Sungwoo Choi, who just picked up a win over Julian Erosa, I believe it was. Maybe it was Jarno Aarons, one of the two. He's 11-6 professionally, 4-5 in the UFC. Sungwoo Choi, never in a boring fight. Never in a boring fight. He is so exciting. He always brings it. He's kind of the guy, he's either getting the finish or getting finished. I love it, and I'm definitely going to be riding with him, even though Steve Garcia has some very crisp boxing from what I've seen. So I wish him luck, wish him nothing but the best in that fight. Should be fun as far as an Apex fight goes. And then the big one, the big fight, our ranked opponents. Of course, Jamal Hill, former men's light heavyweight champion, was supposed to take on Khalil Roundtree Jr. at UFC 303 in the co-main event, right under McGregor and Chandler. Unfortunately, Khalil Roundtree Jr. actually popped for, I don't know what drug exactly it was, but he got suspended 3 months. He's out of action, so who will be stepping up? None other than the 10-1, 6-1 in the UFC on a 6-fight win streak with 5 straight finishes. Carlos the Blackjack Ulberg, recently ranked number 11 in the men's light heavyweight division, coming off a 12-second knockout of Alonzo Menifield. He's coming in with so much momentum. 2 performances in the nights and 1 fight of the night in his 7 UFC fights. So excited to see him fight Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill, of course, ranked number 3. He holds wins over Johnny Walker, Thiago Santos, and Glover Teixeira. He's legit. 6-2 in the UFC, 12-2 professionally. I mean, come on. Come on, someone's going to sleep. I'm riding with Carlos Ulberg in this one. I love Carlos Ulberg. He's fun. He's feisty. It sucks he won't be able to fight in Australia in front of his home crowd. I will say that is unfortunate. But, I mean, huge opportunity to jump into not just the top 5, but the top 3. I mean, come on. You got to take that opportunity when Khalil Roundtree Jr. is popping for drugs. Very bad. Very bad. Don't do drugs, children. Do not do drugs. Unless you're Khalil Roundtree Jr., then you do them, so then Carlos Ulberg can step up and take over and potentially knock out Jamal Hill, which I think he will. I think he possesses the knockout ability. And Carlos Ulberg, I mean, he's been leveling up. I mean, fighting Kenny Nchukwu in his debut, working up to fight Nair Patera, knocking him out, working up to fight Nicolas Negomarano. Then he was taking on Dawoon Jong, and now he's freaking knocking out Alonzo Menifield. He's in the rankings. I'm excited to see what's next for Carlos Ulberg. So, yeah, that's the big fight announcement that went down today. And I'll tell you something that didn't go down today but went down yesterday, and that was the first game of the Western Conference Finals in, of course, the NBA. NBA Playoffs, we, of course, are in our Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Game 1s went down Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll talk about the first game in the Eastern Conference as the number 1 seeded Celtics took on the number 6 seeded Indianapolis Pacers, the Indiana Pacers, and they got it done 133-128, but it went down to overtime and even took Jaylen Brown of the Celtics hitting the last second shot with like 5 to 3 seconds left to put them ahead. I mean, such a great matchup. I didn't really catch it. I was unfortunately busy working on homework, but I mean, heck, impressive stuff by the Celtics, but I do have hope. I do have hope for the Pacers. I hope the Pacers win. I'm not necessarily a Celtics hater, but I always like when new teams move ahead in certain spots. And the Pacers, who have never, I don't even know if they've been to an NBA championship game before the finals, they have an opportunity to get it done. But the Celtics, man, Jason Tatum, 36 points, 12 rebounds. He played 46 minutes. That's absolutely insane. Barely took any breathers. You love to see it. Jaylen Brown, 26 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds. He was getting it done. Hit the clutch game winner, or game tire sent overtime. Al Horford, he had 15. Drew Holiday, starting guard, 28 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. Very high stat line, points-wise, from Drew Holiday. And, I mean, this is a guy who won an NBA championship with the Bucks. So this guy has experience. Derek White, 15 points. He's talented. Peyton Pritchard and Luke Cornett off the bench, 8 points and 5 points, respectively. As for the Pacers, Pascal Siakam, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. He was trying his hardest. I mean, he's the power forward for the team. He's doing the best he can, but not enough. Aaron Nesmith, 14 points. As a starter, I expect a lot more than 14 points. Miles Turner, 23 points, 10 rebounds. Starting center, did his job. Tyrese Haliburton, the star of this team, 25 points, 10 assists. He was contributing. Andrew Nemhart, the starting shooting guard, 12 points. 12 points, you need more. You need more. TJ McConnell off the bench had more at 13, and Obi Toppin off the bench, one of the best bench players in the league. Former New York Knick, 15 points for Obi Toppin. The only bench points coming from other than the Stars, Ben Shepherd, who played 17 minutes, had 2 points. I've never heard of a Ben Shepherd in my life. Very fascinating. Stat-wise, 3-pointers, more for the Celtics. 24 free throws for the Celtics compared to 9 for the Pacers for made. 10 attempts by the Pacers, 30 by the Celtics. So there is a huge discrepancy there, and I do think the refs are to blame for that, but it also could be the Pacers were playing sloppy. I don't personally know exactly from not watching, but I do think that is a odd observation right there of how many fouls they have. 21 turnovers by the Pacers. That'll also hurt you. 21 turnovers. That's crazy. They had 23 personal fouls. Game 2 will actually be going down. As I'm recording this, I'm hoping to get this up by Saturday. I don't think I'll be able to drop it Friday, May 24th. So hopefully this is up May 25th. So we'll actually be going to Game 3 by the time people are able to listen to this. So Celtics, they're up 1-0, but the Pacers played them close. And I really give them a great chance at winning this series. They just got to string it together. And stringing it together is a similar sentiment when it comes to the NBA Western Conference, of course. Mavericks, Timberwolves game 1. Mavericks won 108-105. And it just simply came down to Timberwolves just missed big shots to end the game. Like that was close all the way. I don't know if they showed the biggest lead at one point. I know the Timberwolves were up at double digits at one point. Of course, leads fluctuate a lot in the NBA. So, but Mavericks did a good job. I'll say that. But the 63 of the team's 108 points came from two players. Luka Doncic, 33 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. He killed us. He was so good. And Kyrie Irving, who's averaged like 20 points the whole playoffs, drops 30 points. Incredible. Derek Lively Jr., 9 points, but those 11 rebounds. He was getting it done. As far as bench points are concerned, not too many. Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford obviously fluctuate, being centers, but Josh Green, 3 points, Jaden Hardy, 2. We didn't allow Tim Hardaway Jr. to gain points. Not too bad. PJ Washington, we held him to 13. He shot terribly. He missed every 3 he took, I'm pretty sure. That was very helpful. And Derek Jones Jr. only 8 points from their starting power forwards. So I don't really know what to expect of the Mavericks another time around, but we really need to clamp up. I'll say that. We really need to clamp up if we're going to get something done. Jaden McDaniels was our leading scorer, 24 points. How about that? Jaden McDaniels. Whenever you do a sim on NBA 2K, he's always getting like 5 points, 2 points. Now, real life, 24 points. Karl-Anthony Towns, 16, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Could add more. Rudy Gobert, 12 points, 7 rebounds. Pretty occasional for him. Anthony Edwards, only 19 points. He really needs to hit that 30-40 mark to really be driving this team. But 8 assists, 11 rebounds. Almost got triple-double. Incredible. Mike Conley Jr., off game, 30 minutes, only 6 points. Missed some clutch free throws. It hurts. Naz Reid, 15 points off the bench. And Kyle Anderson, 11 points off the bench. He was contributing so much out there, so shout out to Kyle Anderson. He's a crucial part of this Timberwolves team. Stat-wise, 3-pointers. Mavericks only made 6. 18 for the Timberwolves. There's a huge discrepancy, especially I want to point this out in points in the paint. 62 points in the paint compared to 38 in favor of the Mavericks. Wow. Just wow was all I have to say. More turnovers for the Mavericks, more steals for the Timberwolves with that. But more rebounds. We got out-rebounded somehow. Rudy Gobert, Karl-Anthony Towns got out-rebounded. We cannot have that. We cannot have that if we're going to be doing good. But these two teams are even. This can be a very good series, and I can easily see it going to Game 7. I can already see this series going to Game 7. So, of course, we'll be riding with the Timberwolves. You already know, Timberwolves fan here. We love the Timberwolves. We bleed the blue, and, Man, I hear they're giving out $20 Naz Reid tattoos if the Timberwolves win the championship. So you might be seeing me with a Naz Reid tattoo. I'm obviously being sarcastic. And I was going to do a transition with sarcastic, but there's nothing to be sarcastic about, as we are now in the NHL. The Stanley Cup playoffs are now in their conference finals. Of course, Game 1 on the Eastern side. Yes, the Eastern side of things went down yesterday between the Panthers and the Rangers. Game 1 between the Stars and Oilers will be going down tonight as I'm currently recording this. As far as that Panthers and Rangers game goes, Panthers jumping out to a lead in this series, 3-0 win. They got 1 goal in the first period, 2 in the third. Shutout shutting out the Rangers. So crucial. Matthew Tkachuk, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. Had 1 shot on goal, made it. Also had an assist. Very lovely. Oliver Honge, I mean, he got a goal, he got an assist, 2 points, 5 shots on goal. He was rattling off. And Sam Bennett had the other goal on 5 shots, so putting in a point for himself. Gustav Forling, he had 2 shots on goal, was able to get an assist off of one of them. Alexander Barkov had 2 shots. Nick Cousins, 2 shots. Everyone just doing their part to facilitate a win for the Florida Panthers, looking to get back to it. And Sergei Bobrovsky, who I've heard is one of the best goalies in the league. We've looked at him for stats. I mean, he was one of the stat leaders for, I think it was GAA or something like that. Saved 23 goals, 100% save percentage. Absolutely amazing. So shout out to Sergei Bobrovsky. Very helpful for this team. As for the Rangers, I mean, other than Alex Lafreniere and Artemi Panarin, Vincent Trebek also had 3. Everyone else just had 1 shot, 0 shots, or 2 shots. Everyone was pretty much getting shot out for the Rangers. Igor Saharskin allowed 2 goals. I don't really understand how that works. He allowed 2 goals. Oh, they must have scored on an open net. So, I mean, out of 26 shots, he saved 24. That's good. But at the same time, you let in 2, probably letting 1 at the end of the game. That's not going to get done. Not going to get done. And the Rangers will definitely need Matt Rent back in the lineup after they got beat up 3-0. So, good job for the Panthers. Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for the Rangers, oddly. I don't really know why. I just picked the Rangers. But should be an interesting series as it goes along. As for the Oilers and Stars, my Canucks are out. So I will be rooting for the Oilers. You know, I really hope that Connor McDavid could get a Stanley Cup, hoist it up, get a ring. I don't really know how it works. I don't know if you get rings in the NHL, but hoist up the Stanley Cup. I mean, it should be a good series. Should be a good series for everything I've seen from these two teams. And they both came from tough series, especially the Oilers having to grind it out against the Canucks. And as for the Stars, you know, they were able to find their place against the Avalanche, beat them in Game 6. So, sky's the limit, but we'll definitely be back next week with a lot of updates. We could potentially have people in the NBA Finals, in the Stanley Cup Championship game. So, a lot to see what transpires after we take about a week off from dropping in a recording episode, because when I record and upload is different. We'll be back with more NHL in a week. There's not much to talk about when only 1 game's been played. So, there is that. Something else coming up, which I am I don't really want to say excited, but I'll certainly be looking at the results, is WWE King of the Ring. I'm back in a WWE mood, guys. And some breaking news in the WWE world is that SummerSlam, the second biggest event in the WWE, it's essentially the WrestleMania of the summer, is coming to US Bank Stadium in August of 2026. And you may be like, Zach, why are they announcing it in 2026? I don't care. I will have a corporate job for a year. I will have the money to be able to go and sit. I don't really want to say front row, but definitely close with my buddy Tyler. We were. It's one of those things where it's like you were a fan of this as a kid, and as you kind of get older, you're kind of like, it brings out the little kid in you when you're watching that. So it was great to hear Triple H, one of the heads of the WWE, former professional wrestler himself, announcing that it'll be coming to US Bank Stadium in 2 summers. So that's exciting. I'm here for it, and you can bet your butt I'll be there. But what we're here to talk about is King and Queen of the Ring. King and Queen of the Ring, an upcoming pay-per-view, or I don't even know what they call it, performance event. They have a certain name for it. It's not a pay-per-view, because that's kind of like the UFC's term, pay-per-view. But going down this Saturday at the Jeddah Superdome in Saudi Arabia. Another huge Saudi Arabian event. And a big announcement is that the winners of the Queen and King of the Ring will be fighting for the belt at this upcoming SummerSlam. And where is it at? Where's that? Cleveland, because I'm actually going to Monday Night Raw it's the Monday Night Raw before SummerSlam in Minnesota, so that's going to be super exciting. But we're here to talk about the matchups that could potentially be going down. We, of course, know that I'm assuming the main event will be Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul for the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes, of course, is the current WWE Champion. Logan Paul is currently your United States Champion. And they'll be doing battle. I mean, exciting stuff right now. Logan Paul on absolute fire as a professional wrestler. He's such a natural, too. He's such a natural. I got to give it to him. Whether you like the guy or not, the fact that he can just come into a business and industry and take over like this, absolutely amazing to see. Cody Rhodes, obviously going to take that one. Cody Rhodes is obviously going to take that one. He's not dropping the belt to Logan Paul. I'm seeing Cody Rhodes drop this belt to someone like Randy Orton. That's definitely where I see this going, or maybe even Gunther. I don't know. You know, it's a lot can transpire, but I do think Cody Rhodes will get that one done. Also have a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship between Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed is this big boy. He's easily pushing 280, 300. And Sami Zayn and Chad Gable kind of have this angle where they used to be buddies. Chad Gable turned heel, which means he's the bad guy, if you will, the villain. And now they're just doing a little triple threat match just to have them all in there. But Sami Zayn should retain. I will say it would be more fun if Chad Gable won it. I do kind of like when heels get the belts, but I mean, Sami Zayn's probably going to do it. But actually, we're going to pick Chad Gable. Why not? It's more fun to pick the bad guy to get it done. Chad Gable pinning Bronson Reed, not even pinning Sami Zayn. It'd be kind of poetic. We need to predict some belt changes. We'll go with Chad Gable. It's fun. It's fun picking those events. It really is. We also have a singles match for the Women's World Championship, Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. Personally, I just think Liv Morgan looks better than Becky Lynch. I think she'd be much more refreshing as a champion when it comes to the women's scene of professional wrestling. So we're going to pick Liv Morgan. There's nothing to look at. There's nothing to analyze. It's essentially storyline, and you kind of got to follow it. And sometimes they throw in little plot twists, and I think the plot twist might be, hey, Liv Morgan, your new champion. As for the Queen of the Ring tournament, the final will be the Queen of the Ring. She'll get the title. They'll probably give her a little crown and have her sitting on a throne. Very tacky. But she'll get a Women's World Championship match at SummerSlam. So whoever wins between Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan will be taking on whoever wins this. And this matchup is currently between Lyra Valkyra. No idea who that is. Lyra Valkyra. I have no idea who that is, guys. I'm not even trying to be funny. I have no idea who Lyra Valkyra is. Do they even have a picture of her on Wikipedia? She used to wrestle in NXT, so that's kind of like the lower brand. So she was kind of called up. Okay, good stuff for her. Has she pinned anyone? She pinned Dakota Kai, pinned Zoe Stark, pinned Io Sky. Io Sky was the former women's champion. And she'll take on the winner of Nia Jax and Bianca Belair. So whoever wins between Nia Jax and Bianca Belair will be beating Lyra Valkyra at the event. I guarantee it. Nia Jax and Bianca Belair are both women who are moving up towards the top. I'm sorry, Lyra Valkyra. I just like saying your name. I have no idea who you are, and you're not going to get done. Let me just tell you, you are not going to get it done. So there's that. And what could potentially be the main event, unless they choose to go with Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul, but Gunther, who was on absolute fire, he's being primed to become the next world champion, I'm assuming, will be taking on the winner of Randy Orton and Tama Tonga. So Tama Tonga, kind of new to the WWE. He's part of the bloodline, the Samoan family, so he's part of this new bloodline. Fairly new to the UFC. I believe he was wrestling in NXT. Was he wrestling in NXT? Or he might have just straight up came from the independent scene. He's a good wrestler. He's talented. And he'll be taking on Randy Orton. Of course, the Viper, the Legend Killer, Randy Orton. And I'm obviously picking Randy Orton to win this one. I mean, it's been a very interesting men's bracket when it comes to who's getting buried and who's advancing for this little tournament that they've been doing. Gunther beat Sheamus in a 21-minute match. I mean, every match Gunther's in is absolutely phenomenal. But Sheamus just came back, already being buried. Questionable move. Then had Kofi Kingston take on Rey Mysterio. Don't even know what happened in that matchup. Very odd. Gunther then beat Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston, he had his moment back in 2019, I think it was. He had his moment where he won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. He's obviously the veteran, passing on to Gunther. And Gunther beat Jey Uso, which I know a lot of people aren't happy with. But Jey Uso, he serves his purpose. Gunther is someone who can actually perform well in the ring and carry them. There have been some great matches in this. Jey Uso, Finn Balor, Ricochet, Ilya Dragunov, Jey Uso. Great professional wrestling. AJ Styles and Randy Orton did battle. Baron Corbin, who was on the main roster for a while, went down to NXT, kind of revitalized his career, was brought up and gets buried by Carmelo Hayes, who also came from NXT in 6 minutes. Utterly disgusting. And then Carmelo Hayes gets buried by Randy Orton. But I don't know what angle they're going for. Very questionable. But I mean, Tama Tonga, they had him beat LA Knight, so they clearly think highly of him. But I gotta go with Randy Orton. Tama Tonga's a heel. Gunther's a heel. They're not gonna have heel on heel. No, Randy Orton's the face. And definitely I want to see Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. That's got to be what they do, right? That's got to be what they do. Unless they're setting up a different angle where Gunther versus Cody Rhodes is going to be this historic match, or even whoever wins Money in the Bank come into play. We'll have to see, but I feel Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes is the type of main event to have at SummerSlam. If not, then you're building up for WrestleMania, but that's definitely what angle I think they're going to go with. There's only 5 wrestling matches. on this event, but we saw that on Backlash. They were able to pull that off easily, only having 5 matches. So yeah, Cody Rhodes over Logan Paul. Just Logan Paul's not winning the WWE Championship. If he does, that would actually be the most shocking moment of the night. We'll say Chad Gable pins Sami Zayn, wins that feud or continues it. Liv Morgan becomes the new champ. And basically both SmackDown winners, I think are going to advance. We'll say a Bianca Belair, and they might go Nia Jax. They might go Nia Jax to advance, and Randy Orton. That's definitely who I think. So that just comes down to who's going to win, and I got to ride with Randy Orton and Nia Jax. I guess those are predictions for WWE King of the Ring. Exciting stuff. I might check it out. I'm probably going to be a little busy Saturday. We might whip it up on the phone or something. We'll see. We'll definitely see. And as much as the WWE is real, it's also scripted. It's kind of like TV. And as we just announced on 2 episodes ago, we have a new segment where we go look at the Discussing Film page on Twitter, or X, if you will, Elon Musk rebrand. And we kind of pick out 10 different items that have been going on in the film industry, video games, movies, stuff like that. And we kind of give our thoughts on them. It's fun, it's quick, and it's just something to fill the void, which is the podcast. So, checking in first with the first news is that 10 years ago, X-Men: Days of Future Past released, and this was one of the better X-Men movies. A lot of cool moments in it. You have Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine. You have the epic scene where Quicksilver is, I don't even know what it is, but he's basically moving in slow motion, moving bullets around. Very cool moments. You kind of see the rise of Professor Xavier. Very good movie. I haven't watched them in a while, but it was kind of I don't even know how the X-Men universe works, but now it's going to be incorporated into the MCU. So a lot of stuff to come, but I mean, it was a good movie. I like Apocalypse. I know some people hate X-Men Apocalypse. It's probably my favorite X-Men movie. It's very rewatchable, great revenge tale, great redemption arcs in that film. But Days of Future Past, another good movie. The second image is that Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 3 is coming out soon. Magneto, the MC, or speaking of X-Men, he'll be added to the game. And I still can't believe Fortnite is this popular. I don't even remember the last time I watched, what's it called? Fortnite. I played it, I mean. It's been a hot minute. It's a complete different game. Nothing will beat the first 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Season 1 in general. I mean, obviously, seasons 10 and 9 were kind of wacky. 8, as it kind of went along. But those original Fortnite, just the game felt different. The vibes with your friends back in elementary, back in high school. I mean, middle school for me, middle school and high school. It was so fun. It's just crazy seeing that's already on the Chapter 3, Season 5. I mean, it's just moving along so much. And it is such a money grab. It absolutely kills me. Props to Epic Games. They've built a billion-dollar company, but a money grab at its finest. We recently had our first look at the new the 7 in The Boys, of course, Season 4 dropping June 13th. And the new 7, The Deep, is back in the 7. You, of course, have A-Train. A new Black Noir, of course, spoiler alert, he was killed at the end of Season 3, so he's back. Homelander is obviously there. And then you have 2 new different people they've been added. One looks like she's kind of an American chick, and then the other one looks like kind of like an African girl, because they always bring up like diversity in the 7. So I don't know who the 7th one is. I only see 6. Lot of stuff to see, but I'm definitely intrigued. I definitely know it is going to be absolutely hilarious. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. I'm pumped. I'm so pumped to see it. Our third news, or our 4th, Steven Spielberg's next film will release on May 15th, 2026 in theaters, and it will likely be his untitled UFO film. The script was written by David Cope, who wrote Jurassic Park and War of the Worlds. I'm very excited for this one. Anything to do with UFOs and Steven Spielberg, count me in. Steven Spielberg, one of the greatest directors in the game, greatest producers. I mean, if there's someone in charge of a movie, I'd want to be Steven Spielberg. He is just such an eye for that stuff. And when it's dealing with UFOs, I mean, come on. That's going to be cinema. That's going to be amazing. And I'm pumped for it. I am so pumped for it. It is going to be electric, if you will. Beetlejuice 2 is coming out, and it has an absolutely loaded cast. I mean, I don't even know anything about Beetlejuice. It has Winona Ryder. It has, Jenna Ortega. It has Danny DeVito as William Dafoe. Oh my goodness, this cast is absolutely loaded. It has Michael Keaton. Holy cow, Beetlejuice too. I'll have to watch the original Beetlejuice. It's giving, was that Wednesday, the Addams Family? That's kind of what's given to me, the Addams Family vibes. But I mean, wow. Wow, how about that? Very cool stuff. Number 6, Black Ops 6 is officially confirmed to be the next Call of Duty game. And the Call of Duty franchise is kind of in the garbage. It's kind of in the garbage, if you will. So trying to go back to the Call of Duty Black Ops, or is it Black? Yeah, it's Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Trying to revitalize the franchise. I wish them luck. But I mean, it's not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy at all. I'll see how they do. But I have no interest in Call of Duty anymore. It just became boring. The campaigns were boring. Warzone got boring. I don't even remember. I haven't played in years. When I say years, I mean like 2 to 3 years since I played a Call of Duty game. So we'll see if Black Ops 6 looks interesting. I will be getting a PlayStation 5 soon, so we'll have 2 consoles to kind of dabble in all sorts of games. Number 7, Rupert Friend has been cast in Gareth Edwards' Jurassic World movie. That's right, there's a new Jurassic World movie coming out soon, and it will be starring Lance Rupert Friend? Is that his name? Rupert Friend is his name. I don't recognize his face. He was in Asteroid City. Okay, I've heard of that movie. And he's a British actor, so that's why I haven't read about him. The plot details are being kept hidden in a can of Barbasol, is what he's been saying. So a mystery about this new Jurassic World movie. The last film sucked, so you really, really got to redeem yourself here. So another thing where you have to redeem yourself. You have to kind of bring back the original people who are playing the game. So exciting stuff. We'll see how it goes. Olivia Richards has been cast as Polly in Oliver Richards. Has been cast as Polly in Reachers Season 3. Reachers, that's just his last name as an actor, and Reachers' name is show. Described as a character that is much taller and bigger than Jack Reacher, outweighing him by 200 pounds. Reacher, amazing show. I've been told I really gotta watch it on Amazon Prime. Absolutely amazing from all the reviews I've heard. Season 2 was just as good as Season 1, and it stars Thad Castle from Blue Mountain State. So I mean, he looks absolutely amazing in the show. He's so shredded, and he was talking about his routine of how he works out and stuff. And if they're adding another bigger guy, Oliver Richards, I mean, come on, bunch of Jack guys going at it, going to war. I'm here for it. I love it. You already know. Two more. Let's pick out 2 more. A Vision series will release in 2026 with Paul Bettany set to return. Terry Matlis, who directed Star Trek Picard, will serve as the showrunner. Yeah, I could do without a Vision show. The MCU really needs to stop with all these shows. It is getting ridiculous. It just needs to end. It needs to be done, and they're just not gonna. The MCU is just gonna try and keep getting money, keep pumping stuff out, and it's just gonna continue to not work. So there's that as far as that's concerned. And the final thing we will discuss is that Glenn Powell turned down the role that whoever our friend, whoever his name was, to star in the next Jurassic Park film. Glenn Powell said, "I'm not doing that movie because I read the script and it was like my presence in this movie doesn't help it, and the script's great." So hearing that the script's great from Glenn Powell is super refreshing, but hearing that Glenn Powell's not in it kind of makes me sad. I like Glenn Powell. As much as he's getting so many movies now, he's in Twisters, he's going to be in The Hitman on Netflix. I mean, that's just props to him for working on his acting career, getting to this level where he can kind of do whatever he wants. It's impressive, and I give him his props. I salute him, give him a little salute. But I mean, Glenn Powell, an amazing actor, and I gotta see Twisters. The marketing for that film getting pretty good. The soundtrack looks absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely hyped to see that soundtrack when it's finally released. Has anyone heard the Oklahoma song "Ain't No Love in Oklahoma" by Luke Combs? It is brilliant. It is a good song. It gets the head banging, and I can't lie, I've been kind of getting into a country mood, but my music fluctuates a lot. But I know this Luke Combs song is going to be stuck in the playlist. So that's our discussing film. 10 different news stories, rumors, if you will, in the film industry. So that's that for this episode, but that's not it for the whole episode as itself, because what we wanted to talk about today is kind of the 5 month in the UFC. What are our rankings? Because I make rankings all the time. I'm a rankings guy. That's just what I do. Rankings is in the name. They might as well call me the Surprise Jab Ranking Podcast, because that's what we do all the time. And 5 months in, we've been doing pretty good. By the way, I did tally up my, as we mentioned last time, my correct picks. I'm 129 and 79 on the year. So we are up 50 picks. Okay, 129 correct, 79 incorrect. I mean, that 79 incorrect definitely hurts, but 129 correct picks. We're up plus 50 when it comes to picks. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it, and that's just about every fight. I don't think we've missed any. If we've missed one or two, it's if or that. But I mean, I always think about what if I bet? What if I put my own money out there? I'd be a rich boy. I would definitely be a rich boy when it comes down to it. So we've got a bunch of stuff to discuss when it comes to the first 5 months. We're going to be going over all the pay-per-view events, the fight night events, the title fights, the fights of the years, KO of the year, and submission of the year. Stuff in that regard. So let's not waste any time. Let's just get right on into it. Kicking us off, let's go through our 5 pay-per-view events so far for the year. And we're going to be doing a full breakdown show at the end of 2024. So we won't go too in-depth in each and every one of these, but I still do kind of want to give my reasoning for why it's landing on those spots on my list. So with having 5 pay-per-views so far in 2024, it's kind of like, we kind of, it's not much to work with. It's not much to work with, but we still do have some stuff we can look at to kind of rank them where they're at. Easily the worst one of the year got to be UFC 297, the first one to kick off the year. It's number 5 on our out of 5 list. And the only highlights I'm really getting out of this event are, the main event, fight of the night, Dricus du Plessis, Sean Strickland. Dricus wins the belt. And I kid you not, other than that, Neil Magny's comeback, I wouldn't even think it was that legendary. Our performance of the nights was 2 women getting finishes. It was bad. It was bad. A lot of decisions. Co-main event wasn't good. It was rough. UFC 297 easily landing at number 5 on the list. Coming in at number 4, our most recent one, UFC 301. There honestly isn't too much badness with this. A lot of entertaining fights. Essentially every finish got a bonus. Just about. Kyle Burrell and Michelle Pereira bringing it. Jose Aldo returning was great. And, the main event, it was okay. Steve Erceg bringing the fight, but UFC 301, still not that much. A lot of decisions. And when every single fight is getting a performance bonus, you start to see the issues. You start to see the issues with it. Coming in at number 3 out of our pay-per-view so far this year, it's UFC 298. And 298, honestly, wasn't that bad. 298 was decent. Prelims, you had Zhang Mingyang making his debut, getting a minute 41 knockout. That was pretty nice. Amanda Lemos, Mackenzie Dern, giving a fight of the night, a woman's fight being fight of the night. So entertaining, so bloody, so brilliant. Really lit the crowd on fire. And then you get into the main card, Anthony Hernandez, Roman Kopilov opening it up. And Rob Dovasheli and Henry Cejudo was pretty entertaining. Ian Gary, Jeff Neal, could have been better. But Robert Whitaker and Paul Costa definitely should have won fight of the night. And then we're going to talk about title fights. We're going to talk about knockouts of the year. And Ian Topira, Alexander Volkanovski. We'll mention where it ranks in title fights. But as for knockouts, Ian Topira over Alexander Volkanovski. It is in the conversation for best knockout of the year. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. 298 was pretty good. And with that, it's tough to top. And the run from 298 to 300 is going to be one of the greatest 3 pay-per-view runs. And when we talk about back-to-back pay-per-views for greatness, 299 and 300 are going to go up in history. The number 2 pay-per-view of the year is 299. And the reason it's not number 1 is because 300 was absolutely amazing. And we're going start to finish on this card. First 2 fights kind of open up, some decisions. But then Robelis Despange, before he got fraud checked, he was getting an 18-second knockout. After that, Michelle Pereira was submitting Michael Olkajacek in a minute. Michelle Pereira, a different breed. 8-fight win streak. Now I think this made it 7. Felipe Lindsay and Kulaba, kind of boring. Kyle Phillips, Pedro Munoz, iffy. Matuski Armar, kind of boring. Macy Barber, Caitlin Seminara, not too bad. Curse Blades Halton Almeida. Halton Almeida sets the heavyweight takedown record for 1 round with 9 takedowns. Then proceeds to get TKO'd in 36 seconds in round number 2. That was absolutely electric. You then get into the start of the main card. Pure Yang Sung Yedong lighting the place up. Such a good fight. Jack Della Maddalena and Gilbert Burns, one of the greatest comebacks down on the judges' scorecards. Comes back and gets a round 3 knockout with just over a minute and 15 seconds left. Incredible. Michael Page, Kevin Holland. I've seen better, but nonetheless, an interesting debut. And then, come on. Co-main event, main event, the best so far. The best co-main event and main event duel so far. It's going to be so tough to top this. Co-main event, Dustin Poirier, Benoit Saint Denis, fight of the night. It is in fight of the year conversation. I kid you not, it is in the fight of the year conversation. I'm going to stand by that. For being a fight that lasted 7 minutes and 32 seconds, it is incredible. Benoit Saint-Denis dominates Dustin Poirier, almost submits him in round number 1, just laying it onto him. Dustin Poirier comes into round 2. Benoit Saint-Denis is tired from his staph infection. He capitalizes, lands one of the best knockouts of the year. We're talking about knockouts of the year. Dustin Poirier's knockout of Benoit Saint-Denis is in the conversation, and he gets it done. And then the main event, I mean, we're going to talk about title fights. Sean O'Malley, Marlon Vera delivered exponentially, earning a performance bonus for a 5-round decision. I mean, come on, you know you did something right. And then easily, best pay-per-view of the year, best pay-per-view of the decade. I mean, it is probably the best pay-per-view of all time. UFC 300, it did not disappoint. It delivered on all levels. And when we go through this card, I mean, come on, Deiveson Figueiredo, Cody Garbrandt, Deiveson Figueiredo opens it up with a bang. After that, Bobby Green, Jim Miller, not disappointing. Bobby Green dominating Jim Miller, but Jim Miller showing his heart, showing his determination. Absolutely incredible. I mean, Andrade Marino Rodriguez, kind of a dud. Moicano and Turner, just a face palm with the fact Jalen Turner could have knocked him out and chose not to. Diego Lopez starching Sodiq Yusuff, electric. Kayla Harrison dominating Holly Holmes, getting a finish 2 minutes in round 2. We love that. Sterling and Cater was an L, we'll say that, but then Jiri Prohaska, Alexander Rakic, I mean, incredible. One of the best 2-round fights you'll ever see. So many great 2-round fights this year, especially. Bo Nickel gets his win over Cody Brundage, 100% finish rate, undefeated, did his job. Arman Saruki and Charles Oliveira, a technical bout. I will say that. Not bloody, not brutal. It was back and forth. There were big moments. You know, it kind of just showed how good Arman Saruki and grappling is. After that, I mean, we're going to bring it up for Knockout and Fight of the Year, so we won't touch on it too much, but the BMF title bout is what made 300. The BMF title bout just delivering on every single level and more. It brought UFC 300 to the height, and it delivered on its promise. It really is what helped deliver on the promise of UFC 300 being an exceptional card. And then when it comes to the co-main event, I mean, we'll talk about the title fight when we rank our title fights, but Sean Weatherly and Nacho, and it started good, and it kind of went downhill. And then the main event, Alex Pereira, Jamal Hill, I mean, come on, 3-minute knockout in the fashion he did, capped off 300 beautifully, but really, Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje, Jiri Prohaska, Alexander Rakic, they are what made this card super, super special. So UFC 300, easily the best pay-per-view of the year, but like I said, we got another pay-per-view coming up, 302. Now they actually have set lists, and I'm kind of happy with them. I mean, it is it's going to be easy to keep ranking. So I got to just keep up to date with every single card and keep jotting down notes when it comes to my my rankings and stuff like that. So super fun stuff there. I think we should touch on our fight night events coming up next, and this one's going to be very, very, very simple. I just want you guys to know that we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've had 9. We've had 9 UFC Apex events so far this year, and they are our numbers 4 to 12. That is right. They do not. Every event with a crowd is automatically better than an Apex event when it comes to our fight nights, and it's very unfortunate that they've been this bad, but it's just how it goes. UFC Vegas 87. It was Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Shamil Gaziev. All I'm gonna say is terrible main event. The only positive I'm going to pick out from this whole card was Vinicius Oliveira landing one of our knockouts of the year. We'll probably bring him up later with a flying knee. Absolutely incredible. It won Fight of the Night and him a performance bonus in his UFC debut. Incredible. You also had Steve Ercik knocking out Matt Schnell in round 2. It actually earned him a title shot, which was pretty good. And the card started off promising with 3 finishes to kick off the night. And the prelims were the best part of this whole card. But I mean, after Steve Ercik's knockout, we had 4 straight decisions. And I kid you not, all the fights sucked. So it landed at the bottom, UFC Vegas 87. So forgettable. And the one after that is what comes in at number 11, UFC Vegas 88. You had Tai Tuivasa versus Marcin Tybura as the main event. And I mean, as far as highlights go, I mean, you had Thiago Moises getting a leg kick TKO. That's rare. You had Rafael Filo just destroying Ode Osborne with his takedowns. That was entertaining. Macy Chiasson getting a finish. You rarely see that in the bantamweight division. But main card was an absolute dud. Main event was depressing. Watching Tai Tuivasa just lose any ability he used to have, knock out Derek Lewis and the dropping Cyril Gahn. it was disappointing in this card. I mean, a lot of these you're going to see is if there's not a crowd, it's bad. And if the main event doesn't deliver, it's definitely at the bottom. And UFC Vegas 89, which went down in March, also didn't deliver. Main event was Rose Namajunas, Amanda Ribas. It's not that it wasn't like bad technically. It was just there was nothing entertaining in this fight. And before that, we had an absolute dud with Justin Tafa, who's essentially like a lesser version of Tai Tuivasa, also getting checked that he can't wrestle at all. It was depressing, but I mean, other than that, we had 4 straight finishes at one point to kick off the main card. Evan Shabazian, Peyton Talbot getting great wins, Yusuf Salal, Fernando Padilla, cool stuff there. And then you had Jarno Aarons and Steve Wynn, delivering on a fight of the night out of nowhere on the prelims. But we also had Igor Severino biting his opponent. We also saw bad unranked heavyweight action, another forgettable Apex card. Coming in at number 9, though, UFC Vegas 85. Roman Dolidze versus Nasruddin Imavov was the main event. And I just remember where I was. I'm at the boys' house. We're waiting to go out to the bars, and this is on. And it's not delivering. The best moment from this entire card, there was three things. Molly McCann getting an armbar in round 1 after previously losing her fight by armbar in round 1. That was pretty entertaining. Charles Radke knocking out Gilbert Urbina in round 1 and then proceeding to double down on how much of a crazy man he is. And then Randy Brown getting a round 1 knockout of Muslim Slikov. But Hamza Moicano and Drew Dober didn't deliver. And the fact Nasruddin Imavov couldn't finish Roman Dolidze was very concerning, if I'm being honest. Roman Dolidze looked atrocious in this fight. Number 8, UFC Vegas 86. I mean, similar scenario, main event. You get Joe Pyfer, who wins the first 2 rounds over Jack Manson, drops the last 3. Depressing. It did neither for either man. But like I said, we like to point out positives. Dan Ige won the Knockouts of the Year over Andre Fili. Super entertaining. Ior Porteria beat Robert Baziak. I knew it'd come around, guys. I knew it would come around. Ior Porteria, that's the guy who beat Robert Baziak. And the funny thing about Ior Porteria is he just got finished by Michelle Pereira in under a minute. Pretty goofy. You had Gregory Rodriguez getting a 3rd-round TKO. Rodolfo Vieira getting a submission. Carlos Prates was one of the better knockouts of the year over Trevin Giles. That was entertaining. Prelims were kind of boring. I actually remember another similar scenario where I'm waiting to go out to the bars and this absolute dud of a card is on. It's just not bringing up the vibes of the pregame at all. Number 7, UFC Vegas 90, the rematch on short notice. Brendan Allen, Chris Curtis. It was a pretty good main event towards the end, but there were some dull points in between. Chepe Mariscal, Morgan Suri, the fight of the night, I missed. I didn't even see that. Ignacio Bahamondes knocking out Cristo Giagos was pretty cool. So some decent fights all around, but you also had Lucas Brzeziak losing to Walter Walker, which was, or beating him, which was boring. Jermaine Darandami losing, which was boring. Victor Hugo getting a boring win. I mean, just nothing too much on this card. Pretty bland. UFC Vegas 91, one of our more recent ones, which actually just went down in April, so pretty similar. I mean, a lot of finishes here and there. There were just some boring parts with fights that I expected to be better. But, I mean, you got Uros Medic knocking out Tim Means with an uppercut, very dirty. Hanada Dinez face-planting Austin Lane. Bogdan Guskov knocking out Ryan Spann. And then Alex Perez, with one of the better knockouts of the year over Matthias Nicolau. It looked just like the Itopira Volkanovski knockout. It was really similar. One of the better Apex cards, but, I mean, still nothing special. And our number 2 Apex card was actually our most recent one. So, kind of delivered if you ask me. We go through the whole card. Obviously, nothing too exciting, but Omar Sy just blitzing Tukos, taking him down, submitting him, did his job. Tom Nolan getting a redemption win in round 1, entertaining. Angel Hill getting her first career submission, entertaining. One of the submissions of the year nominees. We'll bring that up later. Adrian Yanez getting a knockout win, Chaos Williams getting a knockout win, and then Leron Murphy and Edson Barbosa putting on a fight of the night. I mean, nothing else more for an Apex card. That's how you do an Apex card right. And our first card of the year, our first Apex card of the year, is still the best one of the year. Our number 4 fight night of the year, UFC Vegas 84, which was Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. And just a lot to love. With this card. First fight of the year, Joshua Van gets our first knockout of the year. And we kicked off the card with 3 straight knockouts. Nicholas Mota knocking out Tom Nolan. Gene Silva knocking out Weston Wilson. So entertaining. You even had Marcus McGee knock out Gaston Bolanos. Great, good stuff. You did have boring fights with Preston Pars, Matthew Semmelsberger, and Walter Cortez, Andre Arlovsky. But then Bruno Ferreira knocking out Phil Hawes, brought the crowd right back to his feet. Mario Batista and Ricky Simone, a competitive fight. Then we end the night with Jim Miller in the co-main event, getting a finish. And Magomedov Ankalaev, with one of the better knockouts of the year over Giant Walker. You can't complain. Served its job as an Apex number 4 event of the year. And despite all of our, crowd events not really being the best, just the fact there's a crowd makes it so much better. So your number 3 fight night of the year so far is UFC Atlantic City, which went down March 30th, of course, in New Jersey. And, there were some good moments. You had Aibol Aslan knock out Anton Turkaljic in the fight of the night. Despa Zukja getting a knockout. Julia Ars getting a knockout. Nate Landwehr with the best knockout of the night, in my opinion. Nursultan Ruzabov getting a knockout. But it's just had so many weird moments. The weird fight between Joaquin Buckley and Vicente Luque, where it looks like Vicente gave up. The main event between Manfiora and Aaron Blanchfield fell flat. Chris Weidman, Bruno Silva, so weird. Such a weird fight. A lot of boring fights. Vera Jandiroba, Lupe Godinez, Chidi and Chukani, Rise McKee. It had a crowd. That's literally what makes it better. Every crowd event will usually outweigh an Apex event. But honestly, when I look at it, I might even put this card below UFC Vegas 84 and 92. Just at how bland it is. But the crowd tried its best. The main event was supposed to be competitive, and it was just one-sided for Manfiora. Number 2, event of the year, UFC Mexico City, main event by Brandon Royval and Brandon Moreno. Just another event that oddly fell flat. We start off the night with an injury, which sucks. Then a boring split decision. Nothing really got going until Edgar Chavez got a 2-minute triangle choke of Daniel Lacerda. Then Randy Barcelos got a submission. Then finally Manuel Torres kicking off the main card with a submission. Great moment. Daniel Zuluber, Francisco Prado with a fight of the night, which was good. Brian Ortega and Yair Rodriguez, easily the best moment of the night. Yair Rodriguez, we thought he was going to knock out Ortega in round 1. And then Ortega turned it around with his grappling, got the win. Amazing. But the main event was so boring. Brandon Royval and Brandon Moreno did not deliver. Brandon Moreno looked a shell of himself and just fell flat. Which then brings us to our last crowd event, which oddly, when I made this list, I was kind of like, I guess this is the best fight night of the year so far. It's just where it's at right now. I'm sure it'll change throughout the year. But UFC St. Louis, I mean, looking back on this, some great moments. Chase Hooper destroying Vyacheslav Borshev. Esman Rijovic with one of our KOs of the year. 37-second head kick knockout of Terrence McKinney. You had all your hometown people winning. Sean Woodson, Charles Johnson, Joaquin Buckley. Carl Zuberg, 12-second knockouts we mentioned before. Diego Ferreira, comeback win after losing round 1. And then Derek Lewis, thankfully getting a round 3 knockout, saved the card. Fight nights have been kind of lacking. I'd say if UFC Vegas 84-92 had crowds, they'd easily be number 1 and number 2, but crowds will always outweigh Apex cards. We have to stand by that, but we're not getting too many Apex cards. I honestly think they're going to get to 100 and stop. That's kind of my thought process here. They already have 94 now, so it's coming to an end, but those are our fight nights that we currently have ranked so far for the year. Title fight wise, I will talk about, we've had 7 title fights this year so far, and I definitely do have my thoughts on all 7 fights. So easily the worst title fight of the year was our first title fight of the year. Hockwell Pennington, Mayra Bueno Silva for the Women's Bantamweight Championship. Mayra Bueno Silva wins round 1, dominates 2 of 2 on takedowns. We're like, okay, Mayra Bueno Silva's going to win the belt. She proceeded to then lose the next 4 rounds, and despite being utterly gassed, Hockwell Pennington could not finish the fight. It was absolutely awful. It was so boring. The crowd was booing. And it did nothing for the women's bantamweight division as Hockwell Pennington decided to take, I don't really want to sound misogynistic, but I think she legit took a maternity leave. I don't know if that's real or not, but I don't know. Let's feed her to Kayla Harrison and get this over with. But an absolutely atrocious fight night. Not fight night, title fight right there. And at number 6, it does kind of hurt to put it here, but your second to last title fight of the year so far. Women's strawweight bout between Zhang Wei Li and Yan Chaonin at UFC 300. And my main issue with this fight is that it started off so promising. Zhang Wei Li and Yan Chaonin going back and forth round 1. Thought Zhang Wei Li was going to submit her at one point. Round 2, same scenario. Zhang Wei Li, no idea she didn't finish her. And then round 3, John Chaonin almost knocks her out. It was absolutely crazy. And then rounds 4 and 5, Zhang Weili was like, I'm not even going to risk it. Just landed 4 takedowns in the final 2 rounds. Got just around 8 minutes of control time. And you're just kind of like, that's so boring. It's so bland. I have no interest in this. So it kind of brought down the vibes. Thankfully, Alex Pereira brought it back up. But yeah, not the most entertaining fight. Zhang Weili's title reign so far with just two one-side decisions. Not really getting too much hype. Number 5, your last main event at a pay-per-view, your flyweight title fight. What's his face? Steve Erceg, Alexander Pantoja. And look, it wasn't a bad fight. It was a bad fight, but at the same time, 9 takedowns for Pantoja. It was a takedown fest. I mean, Steve Erceg, when he kept on the feet, it was entertaining. You felt it was a puncher's chance. But then you also have Dave Terrell scoring at 49-46, when it's clearly not a 49-46. I mean, it was a best for business decision. Pantoja did enough in the grappling department, but really didn't move the mark for the champion at all. The guy who lost, the guy who didn't even win the belt, got more out of this. So that's certainly something to look at, if you ask me. Number 4, I mean, your light heavyweight championship bout, Alex Pereira, Jamal Hill, and there's nothing really to hate on this. It just lands at 4 because the other 3 above it were better. I mean, come on, a nut shot, he tells the ref to pause, knocks him out with the next punch. It's poetic, it's cinema, and Alex Pereira is just cementing himself as one of the greatest UFC champions of all time. Fighters of all time, he's done so much since joining, and I'm happy with this, and definitely, it's probably going to end itself in the top 10 by the end of the year. We'll see about top 5, but it's at 4 right now. Number 3, your middleweight bout, Sean Strickland, Dricus du Plessis. Look, the Canadian card sucked, so this fight clearly stood out. It was back and forth. Some people thought Dricus won. Some people thought Sean won. I mean, at the end of the day, Dricus won. It was that. The only issue is it's not memorable. It was a great fight in the night. It wasn't memorable. No one's going to be remembering that fight. So it's at 3. It had good moments, but it was just there. It was just there. Number 2, your featherweight bout. This one will live in infamy. Ilia Topuria knocking out Volk in round number 2, out cold, doing exactly what he said he was going to do. His classic body shot, left hook combo. I mean, just amazing. Just amazing. We predicted a round 2 knockout. It came to fruition from Topuria. I love him. I'm excited for him. And heck, it could even be number 1. This is obviously in our knockouts of the year, so we'll be able to kind of skim through them pretty quickly. But I mean, just amazing from Topuria. And your number 1 title fight of the year, and obviously I think it's number 1 performance. When you're performing entertaining across 5 rounds and dominating, you're going to earn it. UFC 299 main event, Sean O'Malley destroying the only man to actually hold a win on his record against Marlon Vera through 5 straight rounds. The only moment Sean O'Malley lost was the final shot of the final shot of the fight, when Marlon Vera landed a good body shot. And I mean, you had O'Malley just giving it his all. Other than that, almost knocked him out with a knee, almost knocking him out with punches. Incredible. Sean O'Malley, the best title fight of the year so far. And I got a lot of hope for the year. Obviously, Islam Makhachev, Dustin Poirier, they're going to deliver. Leon Edwards, Bilal Muhammad, I have 0 expectations. Like, I actually expect a boring 5-round fight, so they can live up to it easily. And Curtis Blades, Tom Aspinall, I expect fireworks. You're also probably getting Dricus du Plessis taking on Israel Adesanya, so that's going to be entertaining. I don't know if we're going to get any women's style fights this year. Alexa Grasso, Valentina Shevchenko, they decided was good to put on again. No one's really pushing for that fight. I mean, I don't know if John Jones and Stipe are even going to fight this year. I hope they do. I hope that fight happens this year. And Utopia, Max Holloway, that is, if that actually happens this year, that is going to shatter every single record ever put into existence. So, yeah. And there's one fight that's not on here, and that's the BMF title fight, because I decided to save it because it is in the fight of the year and knockout of the year category. I mean, Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje have just done it again. They've done it again. Incredible. I mean, we obviously know Max Holloway's good. He's knocking out the Korean Zombie. He's stopping Arnold Allen, Yair Rodriguez. He's stopping every single person that comes at him. And then you have Justin Gaethje, who's putting on entertaining fights every time he's in the octagon, against Rafael Fiziev, against Dustin Poirier, against Charles Oliveira, against Michael Chandler. They finally do battle, and the fight ends with 1 second left. Max Holloway knocking him out cold. Incredible, back and forth. It was bloody. It was going on the wire. Max Holloway was getting the better of Justin Gaethje, but Justin Gaethje's knockout power was always there. Just about dropped him at one point. Absolutely amazing. It is in the fight of the year and KO of the year. It's definitely winning KO of the year. I think the fight of the year, it's not going to win because we're probably going to get a better fight than that was, but KO of the year, nothing's going to come. So we have some ones that come close that I found, but as far as how amazing that moment was, I mean, just everyone's jaw dropped, everyone's going insane. It was pandemonium. Pandemonium was the correct word I'll use there. Our other two fights of the year, I mean, I've kind of covered them. Duplessis Strickland was that good, and Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis was that good. But right now, the only one that's really memorable is that BMF title fight. I mean, we're only 5 months in. This is only a 5-month check-in, so I'm sure we'll see more fights coming. But so far, nothing too much that's stuck out besides the BMF title fight. When it comes to our finishes of the year, KO of the year, I've gotten the BMF title fight, as I mentioned. Max Holloway is definitely winning that. Dan Ige over Andre Fili, great knockout on Apex card. Steve Erceg over Matt Schnell, I mean, putting him out cold. Another Apex card knockout, going to go under the radar. Vincius Oliveira with a flying knee, check him out, amazing. Dustin Poirier over Benoit Saint-Denis, we mentioned. Nate Landwehr over Jamal Emmers at Atlantic City. Jamal Emmers was just beating up Nate Landwehr, and then Nate Landwehr was kind of just like a minute or two before the end round, it's kind of like, wait a second, I have knockout power. I'm better than this guy. It just knocks him out. It was crazy. Face planted him right down, landing a couple follow-up shots that didn't even matter. Love Nate Landwehr. Alex Baer over Jamal Hill, obviously. We got Volkanovski over Topira over Volkanovski. Alex Perez over Matthias Nicola. We already mentioned him. Amazing knockout. Put him out cold. Carlos Ulberg, 12-second knockout of Alonzo Menifield. Fastest knockout of the year so far. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, it was absolutely electric. I was running around my kitchen. My whole family was like, well, you're going crazy. I'm like, come on. He just knocked him out in 12 seconds. Love that. And then Esteban Ribovics knocking out James McKinney with a head kick. I mean, putting him out cold. He had a little smirk on his face because he was out cold. Like, it was brilliant stuff. Esteban Ribovics, great KO there. But Max Holloway, easily going to take this one. Submission of the year is a bit tougher. Brian Ortega over Yair Rodriguez, I got up here just because he was losing and then was able to whip it out. Angela Hill getting her first career submission at 39 years old. Only her sixth career finish of 30-plus fights. Absolutely amazing. Nasty guillotine choke. I'm putting it up there. Michelle Pereira having two KOs in just over and under a minute. A minute and 1 second submission of Michael Olakajacek and a 54-second submission of Ior Portera. Just amazing. I'd put them both up there. I'd tie them. Anthony Smith submitting Vitor Petrino at UFC 301 in 2 minutes after almost getting knocked out on the feet. Vitor Petrino goes for a stupid takedown. Anthony Smith locks on a guillotine, and that was that. And other than that, nothing too much submission-wise. Maybe there'll be a knee bar or arm bar throughout the rest of the year, but that's all I got so far. That's all I got so far as the year checkout is a going. There is one thing I do want to revisit. I'm gonna find it in my giant. I have a notebook for all my podcast notes. I hope you all know that I plan every episode in here. I take my notes from the past episodes, UFC stuff for the future, and of course at the beginning of the year, I think it was the beginning we made this, or it might have been end of 2023. We dropped predictions for who's gonna have the biggest rise, biggest fall in the division. So 5 months in, I say we should check on this list. I mean, a lot has transpired. As we can see, a lot of great moments. But this was just me going off of my thought process before everything began. So if I can find this right next to the end of your fantasy preview, fantasy football, I'm excited for that. But here we are. These are my predictions. This will be how we'll end the show. End the episode, if you will. I call it a show. It is what it is. But I went through all 11 divisions. I gave my who I think will be the champ on December 31st. Biggest rise in the division, biggest fall off. So women's strawweight, we said champ on December 31st, Zhang Weili. It's looking like that. We said biggest rise would be Lupi Godinez. Lupi Godinez did lose to Virna Jandiroba. She's currently sitting at number 10 in the women's rankings. I don't really know if she's going to make a big rise. I do think they're trying to get a fight booked with her coming up, so still potential to make a big rise, but none whatsoever. Biggest fall off, Carla Esparza, and so far that's come to fruition. She was kicked off the rankings. She's just, nothing's come of it. There's just that. Actually, biggest fall off, I mean, Lumion Pinheiro suffered 2 losses after previously being in the top 10, and Angel Hill went from being near the bottom of the top 15 to now being ranked number 9. She's probably had the biggest rise. I mean, we'll see what happens, but so far decent for women's strawweight. Men's flyweight, we had Alexander Pantoja still being champ so far. He's gotten a title defense in. He'll probably take on the winner of Muhammad Mokaev and Manel Cape, I'm assuming, unless Mamir Albazi gets a fight in somehow. I think that'll be what transpires next. Biggest rise, we said Tatsuro Taira, and right now Tatsuro Taira is ranked number 13th. He is currently, is he 15-0? He is 15-0. 11 finishes, by the way, and he's got a fight coming up in a main event against number 5 ranked Alex Pereira. So it is going to be utterly insane, seeing that he could potentially reach the top 5. That is such a great chance of coming true. And our biggest fall-off, we said Matthias Nikalu. He was just knocked out. He's currently ranked number 8, was previously number 4. Yeah, men's flyweight, I am liking where we're going. Women's flyweight, we said Erin Blanchfield will be champ. She unfortunately lost to Man Fiorot, so unless something miraculous happens, we've seen it with Alex Pereira last year, so unless something miraculous happens, that's not going to come true. We said biggest fall-off, Lauren Murphy. As of right now, Lauren Murphy is no longer in the women's flyweight ranking, so absolutely, we've nailed that. And we said the biggest rise would be Karine Silva, and as for Karine Silva, she's currently ranked number 12. Currently on a 9-fight win streak, and recently picked up a win over Ariane Lepsky on the prelims of that UFC Vegas 91 card. So we'll see if she gets a big opportunity. I mean, she's ranked number 12, so she has some time to jump up, but I'm kind of liking what we're seeing. And obviously, if Erin Blanchfield can get one win, she could step in on short notice later. It could actually happen. Men's bantamweight, I don't know. We said Sean O'Malley would still be champion. We'll yet to see it. He's going to fight in September against Merab, September, October, so we have a really good chance of that coming true. We'll see if Merab gets it done, but I'm still riding with Sugar Sean. We said biggest rise, Umar Nurmagomedov. He's currently ranked number 10. Just beat Belzat Akhmanov. He was the only guy that could get a fight. He's currently taking on the number 2 guy, Corey Sandhagen, in August in, I believe, Abu Dhabi, so that has a great chance of coming true. Biggest fall off, we said Rob Font, and I mean Rob Font is yet to fight since he lost to Devin Figueiredo. Currently ranked number 9. I don't know if he's going to be getting an unranked opponent. We'll see, but I'm actually kind of liking men's bantamweight now that I've looked at it. Women's bantamweight, I actually do like this. We said Myra Boyle Silva would be champ. We missed that. But Norma Dumont on the rise. She did just beat Jermaine Duranamy. She's now ranked number 10. She's on a little win streak now, too. What's her win streak now, actually? She's on like a little 4-fight win streak or something. Norma Dumont been on absolute fire. And our biggest fall-off, we said Holly Holmes. And yeah, she's currently ranked number 6. She's been finished in round 2 by submission in back-to-back fights. I'm liking where we're going with that. Featherweight, we said Ilia Topuria would be champ. I cannot believe we nailed that. We said biggest rise would be Movsar Evloev. Biggest fall-off, Brian Ortega. Right now, Movsar Evloev is 18-0. Currently ranked number 5. Yair Rodriguez at 4. Brian Ortega at 3. Did just pick a win, so unless something bad happens to Brian Ortega, we're going to miss that. But Movsar Evloev and Ilia Topuria, two of the up-and-comers in the featherweight division. And Ilia Topuria's already came. He's already the champion. Men's lightweight, we said Islam Makhachev. I honestly stand by that. I don't think anyone's beating this guy this year. Biggest rise, we said Benoit Saint-Denis. Biggest fall-off, we said Dustin Poirier. It all depended on the outcome of that fight, and it didn't go that way. But, Dustin Poirier, he could still retire, which I would consider a fall-off, and Benoit Saint-Denis could still get 1 or 2 wins towards the end of the year and rally his career around, so not too bad. Welterweight, Shavkat Rakhmonov, we said would be men's welterweight champion. He'll be taking on number 5 ranked Jack Della Maddalena at some point this year, probably in Perth, Australia at UFC 305. So if he can win that one, he'll definitely get a title shot, I don't know, towards the end of the year. But we said biggest rise would be Jack Della Maddalena, so I am kind of screwed there. And then biggest fall-off, we said Colby Covington. He's currently ranked number 4, just is dodging Ian Gary. And I used to be a Colby Covington fan, but he's been putting me off as of late, so we'll see what comes of that. Middleweight, we said Driscus would be champ. We nailed it. Our biggest rise, we said Kyle Barallo, who is now currently ranked number 12, coming off a knockout of Paul Craig. 13-fight win streak. I'm loving that pick. He's definitely getting a top 10 guy coming up soon. Biggest fall-off, we said Robert Whittaker. All dependent on the Paul Costa fight, and as of right now, Robert Whittaker, currently ranked number 3. We'll see who he fights next, but is a very real possibility that he keeps his spot right there. Oh, he's fighting, what's-his-face, Hamzat Chimaev. So, if he wins that fight, then I will definitely have missed the mark there. But we've nailed some good ones here. Final 2 to end the video. Light heavyweight, we said Magomed Ankalaev would be champ. I just need Behera to fight Magomed Ankalaev later this year, and that can come true. I kid you not, Magomed's the only man that can beat Alex Pereira. I think Jiri has a good chance, but we already saw that fight. Magomed's grappling will be what helps him beat Alex Pereira. And he said he's going to strike with him if he fights him. No, please do not do that. Magomed, please do not do that. I honestly really beg you, because you will lose. You will get knocked out. But I do hope that fight happens later this year. Our biggest rise, we said Carlos Ulberg. We had Carlos Ulberg. He's currently ranked number 11. He's fighting the number 3 guy on the co-main event in the Conor McGregor card. Yeah, Yeah, we nailed that. And our biggest fall off, I mean, pretty much every year, I think this guy's going to fall off, and he never does. Number 10 ranked Anthony Smith, legend of the game, still doing it, whooping these young boys, just beat Vitor Petrino. I don't think Anthony Smith's ever going to fall off. And we go to the men's heavyweight division. John Jones, will still be champ. I'm loving that pick. Biggest rise, we said Shamil Gaziev. Dude was a fraud. Shamil Gaziev absolutely fooled me. I cannot believe that Shamil Gaziev absolutely fooled me. And then our biggest fall off, we said Stipe Miocic, which, I mean, he's currently ranked number 6. He's been dropping. I'm hoping that's what comes true. As for rise so far, no one's really made a rise. Curtis Blade, Sergey Pavlovich, Shogun Tomasmal. It'll just be how they perform throughout the year. And biggest fall off, a lot of guys. Tai Tuivasa's up there, very much so. And I guess Derek Lewis got one, so he could be on the rise. We will see. But I'm very happy with so far nailing that Dricus Du Plessis and Io Topira would become the new champions, that Sean O'Malley and Alexander Pantoja would retain. And some of our rises, I mean, Tetsuya Taira, huge opportunity. Umar Nurmagomedov, huge opportunity. Mozart Evloev, undefeated in the top 5. Jack Del Maddalena, even though we predicted Shavkat would be champ, he could still beat Shavkat, and I would consider that the biggest rise of the year. Cabrallo, Carlos Ulberg, we've nailed that. I'm absolutely loving where we're at in the year. But that's your UFC 5-month kind of recap. I mean, a lot has transpired, and looking at the men's pound for pound, I always love to look at this. Islam Makhachev, still your number 1 pound for pound, but some new names. Some new names in the men's pound for pound. No one actually. I thought there would be someone new. I guess not. But it is what it is, guys. Thank you so much for listening. This was fun. It's always fun recapping the UFC year so far. And we're 5 months in. We might come back towards the end of the year, maybe a month later. We'll see. We could maybe do monthly recaps of UFC events. We'll see. But a lot to work out with the podcast. A lot of big ideas of what could come. Like I said, as a working man, I'm busy. I don't really have time to be editing these too much, working on them. But I still do it. I do it for my fans. So thank you all so much for listening. I truly appreciate it. It means the world to me. And I will make sure to catch you all next time on the Surprise Jab Podcast. Have a good one.